Welcome you all to my class on linguistics. Today's topic is pitch and intonation. In our previous classes, we finished discussing manner of articulation of consonant sounds, place of articulation of consonant sounds. Then I discussed vowel sounds, and then assimilation and elision. So in today's class, I will try to explain pitch and intonation. All these belong to the area of phonetics and phonology of linguistics. Now, what is pitch and what is intonation? These are important questions, important issues to understand. And what are the types of intonation? We will know it later. And what is pitch? Now, those who have got some ideas about music or who are interested in music, you always uh, basically hear, or you always come across words like pitch, and you will see the teachers of music sometimes telling the students or learners of music that your pitch is not good, your pitching is not right. So what is pitching? That is very important. And intonation or tone, that is also important. So basically, from our gaze, or we can understand what is tone or intonation, but pitching is something which we need to understand, because this is uh, linked with our vocal cord or tract. So what is pitch? When the vocal cords are kept loosely together, when we create sounds. So when we articulate words, at the time of articulation, our vocal cords, they vibrate. They loose together. They are basically uh, kept loosely together, and they vibrate. And the vibration basically creates the sound. And the vibration of the vocal cords produces a kind of musical note called voice. So that is called voice. So that is called voice. There is a vibration over here, and we say that this when these sounds are produced, when the vibration takes place, then the sound is produced. And during the normal speech, when we in our normal speech, in case of an adult male, the vocal cords vibrate between 80 to 120 times a second. So this is quite interesting. For an adult male, the rate of vibration ranges between 80 to 120 times per second, and between 150 to 200 times in case of an adult female. So look at the difference between an adult male and an adult female. In case of an adult male, it vibrates between 80 to 120 times per second. In case of an adult female, it vibrates between 150 to 200 times. So the vibration is basically at work of pitching. So pitching rests on the vibration of our vocal cords. I will explain further. The vocal cords are capable of vibrating at varying rates. So the vibration of the vocal cords is not always same. The frequency is not always same. It's not that it will stay at 80. It's not that it will stay at 120 for an adult male, or it's not that 150 for an adult female, or 200 for an adult female. It will vary, and that is why the range is given. This is the normal range. It can go beyond that, or it can come underneath that, but that is the normal range. And obviously it varies. It's not stagnant. It doesn't stay static at a particular rate. So this variation also creates the variation in the pitch, the rate at which the vocal cords vibrate. So we are gradually coming to the definition of pitching. The rate at which the vocal cords vibrate, that means the number of cycles per second at which they vibrate. So per second, uh, how many times it vibrates is called the frequency of vibration, as I have already said. So if it vibrates 150 times, so the frequency is 150. If it vibrates 120 times per second, so the frequency is 120. And this frequency of vibration determines the pitch of the voice. I repeat, the frequency of the vibration determines the pitch of the voice. And from this, you can easily gauge that, high pitch, low pitch. So I hope that you are familiar with these terms: high pitch, low pitch, high notes, low notes. You know, when a learner of music starts, singing, if the teacher stays beside him or her, uh, naturally some directions come or directives come from the teacher, and the teacher will say that your high notes are okay, but your low notes you have to still work on your low notes. So how you are throwing your pitching, how you are pitching at lower limit, look, your pitching varies from 80 to 120 for a male person, and for a female person it varies from 150 to 200 times per second. So when you are going to match it with low notes, so you have to remember what should be your pitching, and when you are going high notes, you have to remember what should be your pitching. Naturally, the pitching of girls is higher than the boys. And that's why, if I give the example of Lata Mangeshkar, the scale, the range, the highest range she could reach, it's not possible for a male person because of scientific reasons. For scientific reasons or physiological reasons, because an average, frequency of a female is higher than the average frequency of male in terms of vibration of vocal cords. So naturally, the pitching of girls, stays stronger at higher notes than the boys, than the men. The higher the frequency, that is, the more rapidly the vocal cords vibrate, the higher will be pitch. So the frequency of the vocal cords determines the pitch. So, and vice versa. So if the frequency is higher, the pitch is high. If the frequency is lower, the pitch is low. So sometimes when you hear the teachers of music, that there is still scope to work on your pitching. So it means that the person it doesn't feel comfortable either at high pitch or low pitch. So you have to be a good singer, has to be comfortable both at low pitch and high pitch notes. So if he or she can touch, or she can practice and prepare the voice or the vocal cords in such a way through practice that she or he can feel comfortable at both ends, I mean a high pitch and low pitch, then it's fine. Then the person is a good singer, and that is the quality of a good singer. And that is why sometimes we hear that your low notes are not okay, you have to work on your low notes, you have to work on that, or your high notes you cannot synchronize with the high note or high scale. So all these are related with pitching. So vibration of vocal cords, I mean the frequency of vibration of the vocal cord is basically at work, or is basically behind the pitching, exact pitching or right or correct pitching of a person. And that is what is pitch. I mean the frequency of the vibration of the vocal cord. And what is tone? Sometimes we say from our common sense, let's try to discuss it at first, and then we will go to the linguistic area. What we say that your tone is not good. That person is good, but the person's tone is not good. That's not the tone a student should speak with a teacher. That's not the tone a boss should speak with the subordinate. That's not the tone a subordinate should talk to the boss. So, what is tone? So, tone is something, which is linked with pitch. It originates from pitch. It's true, but there is something more in tone. There is psychological impact, there is grammatical impact, there is discourse impact, there is different types of impact which determines our tone. So it also depends on your attitude, it also depends on your mood, it also depends on the grammatical function, it also depends on the area or on the in the situation you are in. It also depends on your mental stability or whether you feel comfortable at that situation or not. So tone or intonation can be determined by different factors. So but what is important that pitching is at the root of intonation. When you are not in your right mood and you are shouting, you are shouting, naturally your pitching will be high. So pitching is behind intonation, but it doesn't mean that it is intonation. So when you are doing works with your tones or intonation, then there is pitching behind it. But your intonation is determined by many other factors. Pitching is the physiological factor, but your intonation is dominated by the external factors as well. No language in the world is spoken on a monotone all the time. So if a person, when he is angry, when he is full of happiness, when he is nervous, when he is frustrated, when he is surprised, if he gives the same expression, when I will say expression, you will basically understand the facial expression, but the external expression, it's not like that. It's not always the facial expression, because you can also give your expression through your tone. Your tone will let people understand whether you are angry or satisfied. Your tone will let people understand whether you are frustrated or enthusiastic. So that is the function of tone. It is very rarely that we speak with an unvarying pitch. Now, when you change your tone, naturally your pitching also changes. Basically, the change of pitching determines the change of tone. And when you need the tone of an angry man, naturally the pitch will be higher. When you need the tone of a very logical person, a rational person, and you are giving your lecture or speech in a very sophisticated manner, naturally your pitch will go down. And when you are emotional, you are full of feelings, you are angry, or you are frightened, and you are speaking, so your voice, your tone will obviously express that your intention. In normal speech, the pitch of our voice goes on changing constantly. So when we speak, naturally our pitch will also change. And as I said earlier, that our tone changes, and when our tone changes, naturally pitching also changes. Now going up, now going down. So pitching goes up, pitching goes down, a pitch goes up, pitch goes down, according to the change of our tone, and sometimes remaining level or steady. And sometimes the pitching also remains steady. And you must have heard teacher of music and music teacher saying that your low notes are okay, your high notes are okay, but your notes are not steady on a particular ground. Sometimes the singers also need steady notes, They need three types of notes to synchronize their vocal, chords or tract or voice. One is high note, the other is low note, and the other is standing note. They say standing notes. So if they can, match their pitching on a standing note, they are also excellent singers. So different pitches of the voice combine to form patterns of speech variation. So pitches, I have already said, are at work in giving variation of tone or intonations, which together constitute the intonation of language. So it's not that always we speak in the same manner. Our tone changes. Our tone is sometimes sympathetic. Our tone is sometimes angry. Our tone is sometimes frustrating. How do you understand that I am angry? You understand not only watching my face, not only observing the facial expression that I give, but also listening to the tone that I use. That how am I speaking? You can also understand when your father is angry, when your mother is angry, not only by the facial expression. Even it may happen. The father is smiling, but still, what he is saying, his tone indicates that there is sarcasm in his tone, but he is smiling. So, how do you understand that? You understand that because of the tone your father uses, because of the tone your mother uses. Sometimes you also misinterpret your mother's tone. Sometimes you also misinterpret your father's tone, and that's your problem. The intonation of a language thus refers to the pattern of speech variation or the tones it uses in its utterances. Intonation is the expression of different attitudes. So, what is intonation? Pitching is at the root, and above that is intonation. So, what is intonation? It's something which gives expressions of our different attitudes through different utterances or tones of a single word. So that is intonation, that what we express, the kind of expression we give, the kind of attitude we show. So attitude can be shown, attitude can be displayed through facial expression, through gestures, through postures, and it can also be shown and made clear by your tone. So intonation refers to the rising or falling pitch in a person's voice. As they say words or phrases, already I have discussed it. So what is intonation? It's the rise and fall of pitch. And in many languages, changes in pitch reflect a change in meaning of what is being said. And there are many languages in which you will see that if the pitch is high, it means one thing. If the pitch is low, it means another thing. Obviously, in English also it happens. Intonation varies from language to language. In case of Bangla language, we have our own style of intonation. And in English, they have their own style of intonation. In the same way, one would stress a word. So, in English, there is always the possibility and there is always the tendency of giving stress on certain words. Stress, unstress, stress, unstress. In Bangla, when we speak, even we don't give that much emphasis or stress on particular words or sounds, so that giving stress or unstress is more prominent in English. So native language is not always pronounced in the same way in English, so English is spoken in its own style. In linguistics, intonation is variation of spoken pitch. So what is intonation? Pitch is the physiological matter. It's high, it's low, it's standing. But what is intonation? Intonation is the variation, and this variation. If there is no variation of your tone, if you don't speak in sophisticated tone, if you are not angry sometimes with your students, then it doesn't work. So sometimes you have to change your tone, though artificially, though mechanically. It's not used to distinguish words. Instead, it is used for a range of functions, such as indicating the attitudes and emotions of the speaker. So why do we change our tones? We change our tones to make it functioning. So we want to express our attitude. If I am satisfied with a student, I have one kind of tone. If I am dissatisfied with a student, I have another kind of tone. If I am emotional, I have one kind of tone. If I am not emotional, then I have a different kind of tone. Signaling the difference between statements and questions, and obviously you know that there is difference in your tone. I will explain these things with examples. And between different types of question, focusing attention on important elements of the spoken message. Say, for example, there is a written sentence. So that written sentence can be pronounced in different ways, in a number of ways, and the meaning will differ in that case. We will see that how simply your intonation or tone can change the meaning of a sentence. It contrasts with tone, in which pitch variation in some languages does distinguish words either lexically or grammatically. Although intonation is primarily a matter of speech variation, it is important to be aware that there are functions of intonation such as the expression of attitudes, emotions, highlighting aspects of grammatical structure. So basically, intonation is the speech variation, it's true, but intonation is something more. It's not simply the variation of pitch. I hope that you can still remember what is pitch. Pitch is the frequency of vibration of vocal cords, and intonation is primarily based on pitch variation. And intonation is also dominated by other factors, as I am telling from the beginning. The factors of attitudes, emotions, grammatical structure, discourse, everything has got influence on your tone. Now, let's go to the functions of intonation. So, what functions do intonation play? So, if you don't make any change in your tone, there are some people whose tone never changes. And if the tone never changes, then it becomes boring. You will never enjoy those people speaking. And you will never enjoy their lecture. You will never enjoy their speech. Why? Because then there is no variation in their speech. When you watch a movie, you watch a drama, you will see that the characters, I mean the actors and actresses, they frequently change their tone. Sometimes they change their tone when they are very happy. They also change their tone when they are dejected or frustrated. So grammatical function of intonation, let's see. Firstly, intonation distinguishes different types of sentence. With the help of intonation, we are talking about phonetics and phonology, you see. The hearer can understand whether a particular utterance is a statement or a question, command or request. Looking for something, looking for something. There is a question mark. But when you speak to someone, you cannot say that looking for something, there is a question mark at the end. You can't say that. How will you express that there is a question? You are asking question. How will you express it? Only by the structure of grammar. Look at the first example. Looking for something, looking for something, looking for something, looking for something. And look at the second example. Looking for something, looking for something, looking for something, looking for something. The first example, looking for something, looking for something. And the second example, looking for something, looking for something. Now, the second example is not grammatically correct sentence, but when you are a native speaker of English, is it so that always you will speak following grammar? Will you always say, are you looking for something? No, it's not that. The native speakers never speak in that manner. And when you speak Bangla, you always violate grammar. Because that's the way the native speakers speak. And that's the way the English people will speak. They will not say all the time that, are you looking for something? It's grammatically correct, but they will say for example, you are looking for something, and if you meet a man, he is a British or an American person, he will not say, are you looking for something? He will say, looking for something. Watch the English movies, and you will get the proofs that this is how they ask questions. So how do they indicate that this is a question? Through their tone. It's just using their tone, not using the grammar. So obviously, your tone plays the function of interrogative sentence. So this is very interesting. You have got your capacity, your ability in your tone. If you have that, if you can utilize that. So naturally, by born, you are born with these qualities. So it's not that you have to follow strict or rigid grammatical rules in order to make yourself clear to the people. You can violate the grammar and still you can make people understand. So what is important to make you understand to people is your tone. Grammar may not work sometimes, because if you don't have tone, then you will not be able to make things happen. Are you looking for something? Even if you use this example, but if your tone doesn't work, then are you looking for something? Are you looking for something? So it will not work. So you need your tone. Are you looking for something? So this is the tone you are asking questions, grammatically right sentence. Without maintaining grammar, you can still ask, looking for something, looking for something, looking for something. I am asking question, though I am not maintaining grammar, but my tone is working. So that is the function of intonation. Looking for something, looking for something. It's statement, assertive sentence, statement. Well, I am looking for something. Instead of that, I am saying, looking for something. Oh, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Looking for something. So that's the answer. So what are you doing here? Instead of, if you want to ask someone, what are you doing here? You can also say, looking for something, looking for something. So that's how tone works. Secondly, intonation helps the people to divide longer utterances into smaller grammatically relevant word groups, each carrying a different type of speech changes and indicating for the listeners whether a particular utterance is complete or not. This example will illustrate this. Look at the example. So, you know, your expression, your tone will say whether your conversation is complete or whether your sentence is complete or not. When you will come here, when you will come here, when you will come here, it's incomplete. So, I will get you what you want. So, if I say, when you will come here, I will get you what you want. When you will come here, I will get you what you want. When you will come here, I will get you what you want. But if you want to mean that you expect something from the other party, so when you will come here, then remain silent. Why? Because you want the sense of incompleteness. But if you want to complete the sense, then say, when you will come here, I will get you what you want. When you will come here, I will get you what you want. But if you want the sense of completeness, then you have to complete it. But if you want the sense of incompleteness and expect the response of the other party, then just stop here. When you will come here, so you are basically expecting something from the other party. And that's why you have kept your sentence incomplete. And your expression, your tone has to prove it. When you will come here, when you will come here, so something is missing. I will get you what you want. So there is the sense of completeness and there is the sense of incompleteness. So how you will express the sense of completeness or incompleteness? By using your tone, and that is the function of intonation. Thirdly, intonation often performs grammatical functions by establishing a link between the tone unit and units of grammar. That is, there is a strong tendency for boundaries of the tone unit to take place at boundaries between grammatical units of a higher order than words. There is a higher order grammatical, skill and lower order grammatical skill. So what is the difference between higher order grammatical grammar and lower order grammar? The higher order writing skills or the lower order writing skills. The higher order writing skills are like content, like coherence, and even within grammar, if we say the range of structure, the variation of structure, these are higher order writing skills. And the lower order writing skills is just the rules, simply the rules. For example, the sense and the higher order writing skills demand your tone as well. For example, the sentence, those who walked quickly reached the destination, from lower order sense, you will see there is no problem in this sentence. If you look at it from lower order, from point of view of lower order writing skills, if we evaluate it from the point of view of lower order writing skills, there are four skills: writing, reading, speaking, and listening. And within writing, there are many sub skills. And those sub skills are also divided into higher order writing skills and lower order writing skills. So these are things that we will discuss in other classes, not in this class. So those who walked quickly reached the destination can be said in at least two different manners. So, apparently this sentence is okay. But when I will speak, when I will utter this sentence, when I will pronounce this sentence in my own style, you will see the difference. Those who walked quickly reached the destination. Those who walked quickly reached the destination. And next one, those who walked quickly reached the destination. Those who walked quickly reached the destination. Those who walked quickly reached the destination. Do you understand the difference of meaning? The first one, the second one emphasizes on walking. The second one emphasizes on walking. And the first one emphasizes on quick walking. The second one emphasizes on quickly reaching the destination. And the first one emphasizes on quick walking. Those who walked quickly reached the destination. So many people walked What is the meaning of the sentence? Many people walked, and among those many people, those people who walked quickly, they reached the destination. It's fine. And the second one means those who walked. It may be that some people walked, some people went by boat, some people went by bus, some people went by bicycle. So look at the variation, look at the difference. So those who walked quickly reached the destination. So those people who opted for walking instead of other modes of transport, availing other modes of transport, they reached the destination quickly than others. So completely different meaning of these two sentences. So the first one, I again repeat, those who walked quickly, so all the people walked, but among those people whose walking was quicker than others, they reached the destination. And in case of second, those people who walked and did not avail other modes of transport, they reached the destination quickly. Completely opposite and different meaning. So this different meaning, how can I express it? Can you express it merely by writing? No. You have to when you have to express it using your tone. Here the relation of tone units of grammar in the sentence causes the difference. This is the grammatical function of intonation. So your tone also serves the purpose of grammar. Your tone has got the grammatical essence. Your tone has got everything. Your tone has got the attitude. Your tone has got the feelings. Your tone has got the frustration. It has got the enthusiasm. Your tone has got grammar. Your tone has got everything. What's not? And if you cannot properly make your tone functioning, then you are not a good speaker. Now, attitudinal function. Your attitude can be expressed through your tone, obviously. Intonation is the chief means by which the speaker conveys the attitude, feelings, sentiment, and emotions. I was talking about these things. With the help of intonation, one can understand the attitude or mood of the speaker, whether he is ordered, annoyed, or interested in the subject of conversation, or whether he is sarcastic, polite, or assertive. No, you can understand through listening a person that whether that person is angry or interested or annoyed or polite or sarcastic. How do you understand? You can understand through the tone of a person. So that is the attitudinal function of intonation. For example, the same utterance or sentence can be uttered in varied manners, such as happily, angrily, shyly, thankfully, and so forth, with different persons in diverse situations. Intonation makes distinction of meaning to which grammar most often gives no structural clues. That is how, intonation performs the attitudinal function of a language. What does it mean? It means that uh, grammar sometimes cannot fulfill the emotions, the sarcasm, the politeness, the shyness, happiness, anger, thankfulness of a person, which a person's tone can serve. You know, say a teacher in the classroom, when he is angry, he will say, or he can say, uh, yes, you students, you are really very intellectual. So when I will say this is basically my tone is sarcastic. Oh, you students, you are intellectual, so that's why you don't need to attend classes. No, my sentences are very good sentences for the students, good in the sense that these are encouraging for the students. But my sentences, according to the intonation, the tone I am using, oh, you are intellectual, so that's why you don't need to attend classes. You know, if you write the sentences, what I am saying, these sentences will sound very inspiring for the students, but the tone I am using, sarcastic. But if I change my tone, you students are really intellectual. You students are really intellectual. Now, this is sympathetic. This is inspiring. You students are intellectual, sarcastic. So the same sentences can be spoken angrily, happily. Sometimes the mother says, "Oh, can't you die?" The mother tells the son or the daughter, "Can't you die? You are so disturbing." Does the mother mean that she expects her child to die? No. The mother is angry. The mother is angry with the child. And that is why the expression of her anger comes in that manner. But you have to understand that what does the mother express? The mother expresses her frustration, her, desperate attempt to bring the child back to the track. The mother is frustrated, angry, and that is why she is using this tone. But she doesn't have obviously any intention. No mother in the world does have that intention. So, you know, our tones are also very important. Our tones are important. Shyness, you know, thankfulness. Oh, thank you very much. Not that much interested. Thank you very much. Very, very much gratefulness. Thank you. As just formal, very much formal. So only thank you can be spoken in different manners. You are telling your students who basically don't attend classes, you are telling your students, "Oh, you have come." You are very happy. "Oh, you have come." You are not happy because the students basically don't come to the class. This is the first time and they have come maybe with some specific purpose. "Oh, you have come." So, the same sentence can be spoken in different manner, and that makes the difference. So, grammar or grammatical sentence may not always fulfill the purpose of tone. The sentence can be written in a particular, following a particular grammatical rule, but that, you know, follow or that adherence to grammatical rules may not serve the purpose of the tone. So that is very important. Moreover, an attitude or emotion may be expressed voluntarily or involuntarily. So sometimes voluntarily, sometimes involuntarily. Or an attitude that is expressed could be an attitude towards the listener, towards what is being said, or towards some external event or situation. However, it is evident that intonation helps convey attitudes or emotions. This act of expressing attitudes or emotions through intonation is considered the attitudinal function. We are still, attitude in attitude. I'm giving, the examples. Examples of attitude, what I am discussing. He will fall. 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 The first one, I am not interested, and my emotions are not present. My emotions are not involved in my expression. So, well, what will happen to him? I don't care. He will fall. So, I am not interested in his failing or in his failure. I have no interest. I am quite indifferent to his failure or to that person's failure. But look at the second example. He will fall as if I am happy. Or you can say, he will fall. You are frightened. He will fall. If I say, I am interested because I like to see him fall. He will fall. I am interested. And I am, frightened. He will fall. He will fall. So the grammar is saying, he will fall. But by using my tone, by using my attitude, my attitude will be manifested through my tone. So that is the attitudinal purpose of tone. Accentual function, when a speaker utters something, he puts the tonic stress, on some particular syllable or word in the utterances or sentence. The placement of the tone stress performs. So that is basically in simple words, giving stress on particular word and make the listeners understand that what is my purpose. So intensifying, accentual function. So where do you put the stress? Which one is accentuated prominently? So emphasis, where is the emphasis given? So how will you give the emphasis? Through your tone. So that is the another function of tone, accentual function of intonation. So intonation serves many functions: attitudinal function, grammatical function, accentual function, discourse function, many functions. So attitudinal function is the most prominent one, but it is also important. It's very boring. It's very, no, sorry, it's very boring. 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 Not that much emphasis is given. The emphasis is given on boring. So when you give emphasis on boring, it doesn't make that much change. But when you put the emphasis on very, it becomes different. It's very boring. It's very boring. And the first one is very boring. So that's the function, of intonation in terms of accentual function. So intonation serves the function of emotions, attitudinal function basically, then grammatical function, discourse function, accentual function. So many functions are served by intonation. So it's very boring. And the second one is it's very boring. It's very boring. So that is the emphasis is given. Intonation enables the speaker to make any part of his utterance prominent in accordance with the meaning he wants to convey. So when you speak, so you can put emphasis on anything, and what will it mean? It will mean that you are giving emphasis on that. So focusing is also done by the intonation. So if someone look at the example, what is focusing? I saw a man in the garden. I saw a man in the garden. Whom did you see? Whom did you see in the garden? Or whom did you see? Whom did you see? What's the question? The question is, whom did you see? I saw a man in the garden. So what is the answer? Where should be the emphasis? What should be the focus? On the word man. So the problem between the native speakers and us, that if somebody asks me that whom did you see, I will say I saw a man in the garden. I will not say I saw a man in the garden. I saw a man in the garden. But if I were a native speaker, then I would definitely speak in this manner. I would say I saw a man in the garden. Whom did you see? So where is the emphasis? Where is the focus? The focus is on the person whom you saw in the garden. So I saw a man. Discourse function. Discourse means it's long paragraph, long passages. So when you are speaking, the discourse function of intonation means the function that intonation performs is connected utterances or sentences occurring in some context of situation. This type of function of intonation is concerned with two main areas. Firstly, the discourse function is related to the use of intonation to focus the listener's attention on aspects of the message that is the most important. So when you are having a conversation, which part of your conversation is important, it has to be made clear by your intonation. So you are speaking for 30 minutes, I am also speaking for maybe 40 minutes. So which part of my speech is important? If I could make it clear by my intonation, then I have fulfilled the purpose of discourse function. So that is discourse function. That in your speech, which part is important and which part is meant for which purpose. If it is clear, then you are successful. To show how clauses and sentences go together in spoken discourse. So when you are conversing, when you are giving your speech for a long time, 1 hour or 2 hours, then this is necessary. You have to divide, you have to use your intonation while delivering the speech. Otherwise, it will be extremely boring. This is very important. If there is no variation in your conversation, in your speech, in your lecture, then it will be boring. Subordinate clauses often have lower pitch, faster tempo, and narrower pitch range than their main clauses, as in the case of material in brackets. When you are having the discourse, I'm again telling discourse means it's long conversation or long speech, and it's not separate sentences. So what I'm doing now is also discourse. So when I'm telling these things, when I'm explaining these things, I had to maintain one thing. What is that? In my speech, when I am telling a sentence, if it's a complex sentence, for example, then the main clause has to be spoken prominently than the subordinate clause. Main clause has to give the prominence. It has to be prominent. Look at the example. The red planet, as it is known, is fourth from the sun. The red planet, as it's known, The red planet, as it is known, is fourth from the sun. So the red planet is fourth from the sun has to be prominent. It's the main clause. The red planet is fourth from the sun is the main clause, and it has to be prominent when I will speak. I again repeat, the red planet, as it's known, is fourth from the sun. The red planet, as it's known, is fourth from the sun. So as it's known is, not unimportant, is less prominent as it's the subordinate clause. You know, that's what I am telling you. That the main clause, that's the discourse function, that when I will have a conversation with someone, when I will give a lecture or a speech, in my lecture, when I will use sentences, I have to use the skill of intonation. And you know that intonation serves different types of purposes. So the when I'm fulfilling the discourse function, then I have to understand the main clause has to be more prominent than the subordinate clause. And the last one is psychological function. It refers to organized speech into units that are very easy to perceive, memorize, and perform. So psychological function means that when you use your intonation, your definitely your psychological bent of mind is always at work with your intonation. And if your psychology or if your mind doesn't function properly, then things will not be understandable. People will not perceive these things, and it will not work properly. So what did we discuss in today's class? We discussed pitch and intonation and functions of intonation as well. And I said that the functions of intonation, they involve attitudinal function, grammatical function, discourse function, and focusing, then accentual function, and discourse function. The discourse function means when we are having long conversation or speech, and finally psychological function, that which is very important, that the mind is also always at work when you speak. If you are not properly inspired, or if you are not feel comfortable, then there will be an impact of your mind on your speech as well. So these are the things we discussed in today's class, and I hope that you will do this class, and you will also attend the next classes I will take on linguistics. So thank you very much.